There we go. Good morning, everybody. Okay. Well, welcome. Today's a special day. This is our third annual Learning and Sharing Workshop, and this has been a great event that's been in progress. That started 3 years ago with a good idea, and it's just grown to really encompass a lot of even better ideas. And thank you, everybody, for being here to share, because the whole bottom line is we want to protect our communities and keep not just the bikers safe, but we want to keep the pedestrians and the drivers. So from a marketing standpoint, that's important for me because they're all different target markets, and they each have different messages. So to hear your feedback on that is going to be very helpful to help us continue to keep everybody safe. So we have a lot of exciting things planned on this agenda. And basically the purpose of it, as you all know, is to gain insights from our government leadership and departments and build and nurture our networks with each other, and on an annual basis, but also on a regular basis. We can now create contacts so we can continue to share information as it comes up, not just today, but throughout the year. And share our plans and our challenges and how to work together to be on the same page to keep the community safe. Okay, so I think Mickey's going to go into a little bit more detail as far as who our committee is. On behalf of the Bicycle and Pedestrian Safety Committee, we welcome you.
Yep, thanks, Julie. So I just wanted to highlight something Julie talked about. This is really about trying to prime the pump a little bit. We all have very active teams focused on pedestrian bicycle safety. We've got the season upcoming, right, when things really, the whole game changes really in terms of activity, volumes, and the like. So this is really an opportunity for us to get together to leverage and share, as Julie talked about. No criticism. We're not about judging anybody. We're not about saying this won't work or that won't work. It's about listening, learning, sharing, and then collaborating and taking things back. Okay? So let's, and that's how we've done this the last couple of years, so I'm sure that'll happen. I want to give just special recognition to the members of the Pedestrian Bicycle Safety Team of Bethany Beach. If actually, will you all stand up, please? This is a group of folks, and it's really Teresa and I. Thank you. Teresa and I happen to be the connection back to town council, since we're council members, but this is really a 10-person team that all get involved, all do things. I mean, it really is one of the most, and I've been involved with teams all my career. This is one of the most fun, engaging, energy-filled. No one just sort of says, hey, here's an idea, and then leave it out on the table. They throw an idea out and say, hey, I'll volunteer to do it. And so I just want to get, this is just special thanks to all those folks. So thank you. Oh, that one. Okay, that arrow. So let me just go over the agenda real quick. We're doing the kickoff. Dan will give a safety contact. Our safety contact is something we do at the beginning of all of our meetings, and it really goes back to my days when I worked for DuPont. But it really is a way to get our heads on in terms of the focus around safety. And they tend to be personal stories. They tend to be something connects with people and just gets us in the right framework. This is what we're here, to prevent hurt, pain, and suffering. And so Dan's going to kick us off with that. We're very fortunate to have members of both the governor and the lieutenant governor's office here. We'll introduce them formally in a little bit. So we really thank them for being here. We've got the DelDOT here to sort of share some of the initiatives going on in sort of the lower part of the state, so that's great. And then we'll get into sort of sharing the initiatives from the towns and the like, so you see those listed. Thank you all in advance for being here. It's fantastic. Then we're going to do something a little bit different. One of my members of the town council really made a point when we were putting this together, and he was a really good collaborative thinker on this, said, Mickey, you always, and Teresa, you always want to give or have a takeaway that the members of the leadership have, right? So if you think about the governor's office, lieutenant governor, a takeaway that they can take back and act on. And so we're doing that, Rich, but we're doing it in a little different way. Rather than us giving them a takeaway. We're going to bring them back up at the end of the session after hearing all the towns. And what are they going to take away, right? Jacqueline, I'm looking at you a little bit, but what do you want to take away to share back with the lieutenant governor and governor, right? And I think that's actually even more impactful. And then we'll do a little bit of a wrap-up and summary from our key learnings, and then we'll have a nice lunch. So, again, thank you for being here, and it's all over. Let's go play golf. What the heck? So, Dan, I think you're next up, my friend.
Thanks, Mickey. Mickey asked me to, a couple weeks ago, if I'd do the safety contact, and I was out on vacation. Can you hear me okay? Uh-oh. Mickey, you broke the microphone. Can you hear me now? Still can't hear me now? All right, well, let's go have that lunch. Come on. He broke it. I know we're not supposed to be critical of anybody, but he broke it. That's mine. Oh, did I do that?
No, it happened before you got up here.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now? No? This is really getting good. How about now? No? Yeah, I know. You can always hear me. How about now? Yeah, everybody hear me okay? Everybody hear me okay? Okay.
If you want, you can just take the mic off and hold it if you're comfortable.
That's fine, actually.
There you go.
Okay. How's this? I'm going to work at this for a while, but within the next hour and two, I'm going to get it ready. Look, Mickey called and asked me if I would do a public safety contact. And I said, Mickey, I'll do anything for you. What's a public safety contact? You just heard that, the description. So I'm going to, I was the executive director at the International Association of Chiefs of Police for about 25 years. And over that period of time, I had lots of public safety contacts and lots of experiences that chiefs shared. And I'm not a law enforcement officer, just in admiration of everybody. And by the way, I like to do this every time I come here. Well, all of the people in uniform, everybody who's in policing, please stand up so we can recognize you. The work that these men and women do is unbelievable, and it's all across the country. In fact, I can tell you it's all around the world. But let me tell you a quick story about one chief who was one of my favorites. Many years ago, he told me about how he got his start as being a police chief. And he was a part-time police officer in a very small town in southern Georgia. He left the office on Friday afternoon, came back after a good weekend on Monday morning. Can you still hear me okay? All right. Came back on Monday morning, and there was a three-person department. There was a chief, a sergeant, and him, the part-time. Tiny department. And he walked in, and nobody was in the office, but there was a note in his cubbyhole that said, go see the mayor immediately when you get in. So he went and saw the mayor, and the mayor said, the chief and the sergeant quit on Friday. You're the chief. Here's your badge. Here's your gun. Go and get the job done. Well, he had no idea that this was going to happen. He was stunned. In fact, he was panicked. So he went back to the office, and the first thing he thought of, because he's a somewhat literate kind of guy, he decided he was going to find the book that tells you how to be a police chief. Anybody know a book that tells you how to be a police chief? No, there's no such thing. So he went nuts, and he thought, there was this experienced elderly chief in a neighboring community, and what he decided to do was he'd give him a call and say, I need help, I don't know what to do. And when he did that, the chief called him back and said, get in your car and get over here right away, which is what he did. He probably spent the next 3 weeks in that department. And his favorite story about, and my favorite story about all of this, is the chief sat him down and said, and I can't do a really good southern Georgia accent, so you'll have to forgive me. But he said, first thing you need to do is you need to get involved with groups of people who know what they're talking about. So he said, we've got an association of chiefs of police here in Georgia. You need to get very active in that organization. And then he said, the second thing is you got to learn to create. You got to do things differently with different ideas. And he emphasized it by saying, and I had to write it down because I can never forget it, if you always do what you've always done, you're only going to get what you already got. And that's something that I think is a good message for all of us. And what I wanted to share with you today, and this is the public safety contact, is that police chiefs have been doing this a long time. They get together, they share problems, they come up with ideas, they find solutions, and they work together to implement them. And that's exactly what we've been doing with this group. This is our third year, right, Mickey? And every time we've met, we've had remarkable conversations. We've actually followed. Carl and I had a conversation with some folks from Del Dot after our last meeting, where we talked about my favorite subject, which is death row. That's riding on Double Bridges Road out to Camp Barnes from Bethany Beach. And if you ask Carl, can you stand up and show him where your scars are, where you jumped off a bicycle? He didn't do that. But look, we have a full agenda, and I don't want to keep everybody busy. But I'm guessing everybody in the room has an example of a Double Bridges Road and the headaches and the fear that goes along with that. And so maybe in our conversations later, as we get together, we'll be able to find some common ground. The one thing that the Del Dot folks told us when we talked to them, as I recall, Carl, correct me if I'm wrong on all of this, was that it'd be great if we could get some priorities. If everybody's got a list of projects, the question is, how do you shape them? How do you make sure you're getting off to the right things first? And God love them, the state of Delaware does a wonderful job all over the state in implementing lots of good ideas. I just happened to watch. There you go. I'm going to start all over again, okay? So good morning. No, I'm kidding. I was just watching television last night, local television, and every chase station had 2 or 3 different stories about sidewalks that were being developed in various parts of the state. So it was really nice to see and encouraging. So look, share those ideas, share those concerns, and never forget the old expression: if you always do what you've always done, you're only going to get what you've already got. Okay? Good luck.
Good morning. Good. I'm glad the sound system's all checked and we're running. Thank you for warming everything up. I'll send you the bill later. No doubt. Well, again, thank you for everybody for being here today. It's certainly nice to have a nice change in the weather. I think that's a good omen for our meeting today. And we're very, very honored today to have representatives from the state of Delaware senior leadership team with us. And we really appreciate their support of our efforts for improving pedestrian and bicycle safety. And the fact that they've taken time from their busy schedules to be here is wonderful. So we appreciate the governor and the lieutenant governor's office supporting our efforts. The 2 representatives today are Jacqueline Hullahan, who serves as the Sussex and Kent County Manager for the Office of Lieutenant Governor Gay, where she is passionate about advocating for the communities in southern Delaware. She began her state career with the Delaware Tourism Office, where her love for the first state took root and continues to guide her work. A longtime Delawarean, Jacqueline grew up in Lewis and remains a proud resident of southern Delaware with her husband and daughter. So we're very happy to have Jacqueline here. And we're also very happy to have Jonah Anderson with us today. And Jonah is the Assistant Director of Policy for Governor Matt Meyer. So thank you so much. And Jacqueline, would you like to come up?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for that nice intro. Normally, Lieutenant Governor Gay is standing up here, so I'm sorry she's not here today. She sends her best wishes. On behalf of the Lieutenant Governor Gay and our team, we want to thank the Bethany Beach Council for their commitment to safety and for their willingness to partner with state leaders in ensuring the needs of your local communities are best met. We are all connected by a shared desire for a safer, healthier community. That is why today's meeting is important, because it showcases an understanding that safety is not one-dimensional and requires us to think critically on how we keep our neighbors safe. We all know that biking is big in the coastal communities, and as he mentioned, I grew up in Lewis. I rode my bike all around Lewis. I vividly remember a police officer on a bike stopped me on a bike because I ran through the stop sign. I was probably like 12 years old, and he was like, you know a stop sign's important, right? So just that little conversation has stuck with me 30 years later. And during COVID, I bought my beach cruiser at the Bethany Beach bike shop. So it has been a long passion, not just for myself, but in our office as well. We know that pedestrian and bike safety is a focus because of the tragic incidents that have happened across our state. Our office is full of moms with young kids, including myself. I have a 1-year-old, and right now I am teaching her that a helmet is incredibly important. And, and we're just on a beginner bike in our driveway, so she is learning young. But it also makes our office feel comfortable knowing that the communities like yourselves are doing the work to ensure that our children can walk, play, and bike and drive throughout the communities. Lieutenant Governor Gay is deeply committed to public safety, which is reflected in how many hats she wears. I don't truly know how she does it. From working closely with law enforcement and first responders to serving as the co-chair of Safe Kids Delaware, she is pleased to know that our office is a reliable partner in the work to foster safe communities where we can all thrive. And that is why I'm here. I'm here to listen, to learn from you all, to uplift concerns that need more visibility, and identify opportunities to collaborate. And together, we can make the coastal community stronger. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Bob Cavallo. I'm kind of new to the committee, to the Bethany Beach Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee, but what I'm learning is great bunch of folks, echo what Mickey said. You know, we're here all working together to kind of make the experience for the residents and also for the vacationers that come here every year. So I'm very proud to be working with a great bunch of folks, pulling together, you know, ideas, workshops, public events that we go out and communicate, you know, safety for everyone in the town of Bethany. I'm going to be announcing the next speaker. He's with DelDOT, he's with the Department of Transportation. And I'm pleased to present the next speaker, Mr. Anthony Alio, if I got it correctly. It's going to, a little bit of bio. Mr. Alia has worked 24 years of experience with DelDOT. During his career, Mr. Alia has helped initiate several non-motorized safety programs. He currently manages the Bicycle and Pedestrian Program. The program develops construction plans and engineering documents for bicycle and pedestrian facilities statewide, and he is going to focus his activities here in Sussex County. So, everyone, Mr. Alio.
Just need to move it forward a little bit. There you go.
There we go. Thank you. Are we ready for the summer? Yeah. For the hundreds of thousands of guests we're going to host? Yeah. All right. So my name's Anthony Alio. I'm with Department of Transportation group called Active Transportation Community Connections, which we change our name quite often, but that's where we sit. And my takeaways from last year are this is a very impressive group, which I had no idea. Like the first year I was here was last year, so I didn't know there was so much going on. The wave, that information, that's outstanding. It's really awesome. And what ABC does, that's inspiring, right? I mean, that is way above and beyond what most communities do or try to attempt to do. That being said, I've been here for a long time, too long probably, but the chiefs of police in this area, awesome. Chief Foley, Chief Banks, Chief McLaughlin has always been there to help. We've been here for a long time, and hopefully we're not repeating the same things and things are getting better. And then you have a great advocate in Seth, who represents the North Bethany HOA group that is really a super guy, not super pushy, becoming a friend, but he knows just to keep things at the right level of, you got to look at this, we got to keep going, we got to have some momentum, So it's really inspiring to work with this group. And then lastly, you have your own little pipeline of projects. Senator Hawker, Representative Gray have us on speed dial for projects. So what you're developing here is a culture of bicycle safety, pedestrian safety, which is probably the only place in the state that has that going on right now. And with all the visitors coming and trying to take care of them every summer, keep doing what you're doing, keep looking for new ways to connect. Like I was introduced, my name's Anthony, I'm here with the government, I'm here to help, so. However I could do that, I'd be happy to do it. I'm gonna just roll through these slides real quick. Do I just hit the plus? Oh, there, all right. So this is our motto at Del Dot. I like to start at the bottom and say it's about everyone, it's about people. Every dollar, every mode, every trip. This is a little, I'm gonna roll through these slides. It looks like a lot, but. And then our secretary currently wants us to post our traffic fatalities at every presentation we give. Not very good this year. We're off to a bad start, so I don't know if I have words that can express that on this slide, but we're back up to 21 fatalities, which we were back in 24. 20 Delaware residents. On the bicycle side, we have 1 fatality. Pedestrians, looks like we have 5. So we got to keep working. We got to do better. Here's some of our projects. Those of you may know about the Georgetown to Lewis Trail. We are in the final phase of that. We got a RAISE grant, a federal RAISE grant that was enabled us to complete the last 7.5 miles, basically from Fisher Road to Airport Road. We have a little piece that already exists in Georgetown. And it says here we should be completed by spring of 27. We're actually a little bit ahead of schedule, so hopefully we get it completed by the end of the year. A lot of the trail, over 2 miles, is going to be on a boardwalk. So those are helical piles in a wetland being built here on the construction. So the path would be 12-foot wide, 10-foot clear for bikes and peds. A little wider than what's in Cape Henlopen State Park. Oh. Double bridges was mentioned. So we've been kind of handed down this project for a long time. I think 2016, we might have started to do something here and attempting to get a facility on double bridges. We're looking like we're going to be able to, the PS&E is plan specifications and documents. That was basically a term for getting our bid package ready and getting it out to be advertised. So we're looking at almost a mile in our, what we call our first phase. We try to do it all the way out to where Muddy Neck comes back. So we're doing basically from Muddy Neck to Muddy Neck, but first phase only goes to Neptune Drive, which is the end of the developments. And it's a difficult road. As you can see, there's a lot of wetlands, there's a lot of fish and wildlife, state-owned lands, a lot of permitting. We're still working at getting our NEPA documents approved, which they are going to be approved. And then that will enable us to negotiate with the property owners along the corridor to get this done. But all the plans are pretty much done, and we should be able to start construction hopefully next spring. And the first phase, I don't know how much of you were following this, so we have a multi-use path on the southern side all the way down to Neptune Drive, and then when we continue further west, we'll cross at Neptune and put it on the northern side. So this is, and also includes lowering the speed limit to 35 miles an hour. We'll have a crossing up here by Brzezin's Park. We'll have also 2 other crossings near the entrances to the developments. So it will help to slow traffic down. We'll have large median islands to provide refuge, slow traffic down, try to control traffic. One of the major concerns of the neighborhoods were the speed of traffic. And when you have a long, straight, flat road, it's very difficult to control the speeds. And then, as you know, as was mentioned, when you get further west, there's no shoulder on the road at all. So it really is difficult. Then we're also working Cedar Neck Road, which is just outside of Ocean View. We're going to put a multi-use path there as well. We are probably out of 35 properties, I think we have 2 more to get signatures on, which we already come to agreement with the property owners. So this is going to move forward. Hopefully we get this out to bid this summer. And again, the construction will start in 2027. This will go from the Assawoman Canal up to Hickman Road. So it should help provide a little bit of a loop there to get back into Fresh Pond State Park along Hickman Road and back out to Route 1. Yeah. I keep going the wrong way. We're also working at Fenwick Island to complete their sidewalk network. This one is just, we're in the preliminary plans, and we just redid the preliminary plans to try to widen this sidewalk out as far as we can. We really didn't like the first concept where it was only a 5-foot sidewalk, but you know, Fenwick in the summertime, the pedestrian volume is quite significant. So trying to get a 7.5-foot sidewalk wherever we can. And what's really, I don't know if it's uncommon, but unique, there's a lot of grade differences along the corridor. So some places will have retaining walls. Structures have already encroached upon our right-of-way. So we're going to try to take some of that back and put the complete sidewalk network in. This little area here by the surf shop is an unincorporated area, so Fenwick surrounds, I'd say 3/4 or a little bit more, but then you have a piece of land that's not in Fenwick Island in the county. So that's a little bit more difficult as far as land use is concerned, because it was kind of, I won't say uncontrolled, but not as controlled as tightly as if it was in the town. Here are some of the programs, and this picture obviously needs to be changed. But we do bicycle rodeos. We have one scheduled here at Lord Baltimore and Ocean View. We'll be down, I think, next month. And it's really good to have the ability to be out here with students, because that's kind of our design vehicle when we design projects. So we get to know how they balance, how they stop, you know, what their attention span may be. So we try to use, like, picture a 12-year-old girl riding our facilities that we build. That's why almost all the facilities we build now are separated from the roadway. So again, we do bicycle rodeos. If any school is interested, just get in contact. Our information will be at the end of the program. Hopefully it's in one of the brochures that are here. We do our bicycle safety checkpoints, so the schedule's out there. And this is one thing we've been doing for a long time. So if anybody has any ideas of how to improve that, do something different, we change the locations often. And then when we're in the Rehoboth area, we try to gear them to where they have dinners and they're used to going. So we kind of meet them on their way to somewhere they're going. We have statistics on all our checkpoints, how many contacts we have, how many helmets we give away, bike lights, etc., if anybody's interested in that. And then this is our J1 program, similar to what ABC does, but I think obviously you guys doing a great job. We're trying to, you know, we're doing the best we can. We have a bike garage. We give away 400 bikes, recycling 400 bikes each year. We do our program where we have the students come, take a 2-hour course, both in classroom, and then we do them as a little skills test with them. We used to take them out on the roads and ride some of the places to cross Route 1. We haven't done that in a while since we moved, but I think that's also important. But it's about 400 bikes a year. We have it at the Lewis Park and Ride, the old Park and Ride that's closer to Rehoboth, and that's where our shop is. We have a new coloring book this year, so if anybody's interested in passing these out through the summer, we have that available. Kind of geared towards early elementary students up to 3rd grade, 4th grade. That has just been completed. Then we have some more bicycle pedestrian safety materials that we distribute. Again, though, at the community level, I cannot emphasize, you are here all the time. We come in with a program, we're here for a week, a day, whatever, we're gone. It does not take the place nearly as much as what you guys are doing, because you're here. We have a Bike at the Beach map. I don't know if you guys have seen that. This year, you can log on your cell phone and it will locate you on the map. So it'll be on your cell phone. You'll know where you are in relationship to the boardwalk to downtown, wherever you need to go. So that is both northern and southern beach areas, and we're trying to get it statewide, even though we don't have maps for statewide. And then lastly, we're working on e-bike safety or motorized, any motor on a bike safety, where it belongs on the road, what speed it should ride, whether it should be on a trail or not, all that. You know, we have e-bike safety laws now that prohibits Class 3 e-bikes from riding on trails. I don't know if anybody understands what a Class 3, what Class 2, or Class 1 is, so we're trying to clarify that. I don't know if there's been a lot of accidents in this area, but I know where I live in Camden near Dover, we built multi-use paths next to roads, and we have a lot of, I won't even say e-bikes, bikes with motors on them, and there's been several fatalities, or at least two fatalities there, which is tragic. Again, my name is Anthony Alio. There's my contact information. I do more of the project side. John Fiore, which many of you may know, he does more of the programs and the outreach stuff. But there's our contact information. I don't know if we're taking questions, but thank you for having me, and I'm glad to be here.
Good morning. I'm Carl Tall. I've probably been on the Bicycle Safety Committee from the very beginning, and I'd have to say I've seen a sea change in the attitude and the ideas that have come forward that have actually, I think, improved the culture around bicycle and pedestrian safety. But each community deals with their own set of issues with regard to safety, and we'd like to hear from you and the things that particularly concern you and solutions that you may have found. First up will be Dewey Beach. So if you could come up and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about the things going on in your community.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. My name is Bill Zolper. I've been the town manager now 5 years in Dewey Beach. And we have 8 crosswalks. And I see coming down here this morning, coming over the Inlet Bridge, between here and Bethany Beach, the state's putting in some crosswalks right now. So that's a good thing. So how do we get those crosswalks, and what have we done to improve safety there in Dewey Beach over the last 5 years when I got there? First thing I had to do was make contact with DelDOT and with our state representatives, because I wanted to lower the speed limit. Speed limit was 30, 35, and I wanted it down to 25. You just can't lower it if it's a state road. You have to go through the state legislature, you have to work with DelDOT, you have to show the number of accidents and everything. So if you're thinking about lowering your speed limit, that's what you have to do. That was the first thing I did when I got there. Second thing we had to do was get all the folks to go to those 8 crosswalks. So how do you do that? We had to come up with something in the center islands to funnel those folks through there. DelDOT did a really good job. They funded that. And again, we worked with then Speaker of the House, Pete Schwarzkopf, to get the funding to put posts and ropes down the middle. Looks better than what that fence they have down in Ocean City. People liked it. It wasn't very intrusive. We still had some folks late at night that had a little bit of, had some good times during the night activities, try to go through the ropes, but we stopped them. We gave them tickets when they try to do that. Some of the other things we improved in the posts and ropes were adding white lines before the crosswalks. When I say that, north and southbound, putting a solid white line down the middle of the road, so cars, as they come up and there's a car in the right lane that's stopped for a pedestrian coming out, they're not supposed to change lanes if it's a white solid line. We also lowered some of the yellow beacon lights down to more eye level. We cut back some of the trees in the center island, and believe me, that wasn't an easy thing, because some of the folks that had planted those years ago were very upset. But when you have these type of trees and they were growing and they were obstructing the vehicles, the eyesight of the drivers, and then some of the folks trying to cross the roads when they got to the center island couldn't see the cars coming. So we had to take some of those trees down and trim them back, and that was not a very positive or wasn't very popular, to say the least. You can see some of the things up here that we did. One of the other things we did, we had people crossing without pushing the buttons to activate the lights. I mean, that's pretty easy. You think everybody would do it. They weren't doing it. So we spray painted on the ground before you cross in the crosswalk, push the red button. We did, and we still had people trying to cross without pushing the red button. So then we spray painted, and we didn't want the sidewalks to look really that bad, but we ended up going, look twice before you cross. And we did that at every single one of our crosswalks, and that has helped. Especially when you see a parent with some kids come up, and the parent wants to walk out, and the kids go, hey, look, there's something down here on the ground. I mean, really, we've seen it happen and do it. We've been very fortunate that we haven't had any fatalities at our crosswalks. But when you have 23,000 cars a day, according to DelDOT, going north, and 23 going south during the summer, that's a lot of cars. And there's a lot of pedestrians crossing during the summer. On a weekend, we'll get about 25,000 people in Dewey Beach. We have an active nightlife, and you get a lot of people walking out. We have a great police chief up there. She's done a great job trying to get out and educate the public, but also enforce not only for the drivers that don't stop, but also for the pedestrians that just walk right out. I mean, the yellow blinking lights are proceed with caution. It's not a red light like you have the red pedestrian lights like you did have up there at Glade Road and Route 1 at the outlets, and DelDOT is taking those out, correct? They're gone. You guys are putting in a stoplight up there, correct? Yeah. So that was a lot of questions I get from my citizens in Dewey Beach is, hey, how come you don't have the red lights like they do up at the outlets? They're going away. So we're going to be sticking with the yellow lights for right now and doing the best we can with education and enforcement. Some of the other things we've done, we've been able to buy some signboards that give how much the fines are. If you don't stop for the pedestrians, that seemed to help. We've gotten radar boards at the north and south end of town. Public safety grants, we've been able to get those and install those, because as you know, Dewey doesn't have a property tax, so we do not have the extra money to spend on these type of pieces of equipment. So anytime I can get CTF funding or public safety funding from the state, we do it. And again, your state legislature and the folks at DelDOT, they're just huge helps. And if you're not tapping them for funding for these type of initiatives, you're missing the boat. You really need to get in there and get that CTF funding through your representatives. If we could go just a little further on the slide, if it's possible. Maybe the next one? No? The other thing we've tried to do is work with social media and also the news outlets. Any chance we can get somebody from WBOC or WRDE to come down and do a story on the crosswalks to try to educate the public, we try to do that as much as possible. We'll do that right before summer kicks off Memorial Day weekend. DelDOT has been a huge partner for us up there in Dewey Beach in trying to continue to improve our crosswalks. With the amount of cars going through, it is a struggle to try to get the folks to realize that they just cannot just walk right out in front of cars and expect them to stop. They really need to push the button and look both ways and make sure not only the right lane is stopped, but also the left lane, because they proceed out and the folks coming in the left lane don't see them and they don't stop. So that's been something that we've really tried to educate the public on. I'm open for any suggestions while I'm here this morning and this afternoon. If anybody's got some ideas, I'm all ears. But does anybody have any questions for me? If not, thank you. Yeah.
Before we bring up Lewis, I think Jonah Anderson is here now from the, he's the policy director with Governor Meyer's office. So I've had the pleasure of meeting, or Teresa and I had the pleasure of meeting Jonah a couple months ago at the league meeting, right? So Jonah, please come up and introduce yourself. Fair warning, okay? What we always said to Jacqueline, at the end of all this, after you hear all the presentations from the various towns, we're going to ask you to come up jointly, and what are your takeaways to take back to the governor and lieutenant governor and the teams, okay?
I'm ready.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Just want to start by saying thank you to everyone for being here and for having me here today. Little correction, I'm not quite the policy director for the governor, just a policy advisor, but maybe someday I'll be a policy director too.
Go with it.
So on behalf of Governor Meyer, I just want to take a moment and thank each of you for your advocacy on this I think, really, really important issue. As many of you know, bike safety and accessibility has been a major passion of his. Back in my time when I was his primary staffer, which meant I followed him around everywhere, there were a lot of conversations on, could he ride his bike? Do we need to drive? And I lost a lot of those, so biking was always his #1 choice of transportation. And I think as governor, he wants to make that accessible for more Delawareans. As many of you know firsthand, one of our biggest challenges is that our coastal towns are connected directly to high-volume, high-speed highways. That creates a difficult environment for biking, especially where local streets meet arterial roads or where bike facilities suddenly disappear. From a safety standpoint, this is where the risk is highest. Most serious crashes involving vulnerable users, including cyclists, happen on these arterial corridors, particularly where there is high speed and limited infrastructure. And in coastal areas, that risk is magnified by seasonality. Traffic volumes can double in the summer months, which means cyclists are sharing the roads with significantly more and often less familiar drivers during peak season. Therefore, our focus has been shifting towards solutions that directly benefit the biking community. First, we are working to create more continuous and connected networks. Too often, bike lanes are shared paths that end abruptly, forcing cyclists into traffic. A key priority for our administration is funding and building those missing links so riders have a safer, more predictable route. Second, we are moving towards greater separation from traffic, especially on higher speed roads. That includes expanding the use of buffered and, where possible, physically protected bike lanes along key corridors. Third, we are focusing on safer crossings, which are one of the most dangerous points for cyclists. Improving like rectangular rapid flashing beacons, high visible striping, and better signal timing help ensure drivers are more aware of people crossing, whether walking or biking. We are also addressing speed, which is a critical safety concern for cyclists. Recent speed reductions, like those implemented along State Route 1, combined with road highway design changes, are intended to create a safer operating environment for everyone on the road. And finally, we recognize that infrastructure alone is not enough. We are continuing to engage with local communities and advocacy groups, like many of you in this room, to help prioritize projects and make sure we are addressing real-world biking needs. Going forward, our goal is not just to accommodate the cyclists, but to create a system where biking is safe, reliable, and connected throughout coastal Delaware, even during peak season. We know there's a lot more work to do, but our direction is clear. Better connection, more protection, and safer interactions with traffic. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. My name is Diane Fogash, and I've been on the Bicycle Pedestrian Safety Committee since its onset, and we do have a great crew, and we're very pleased with how far we have come, and we're very pleased to have all of you here today because it really makes a difference. And this is our 3rd year of doing this with all of you. We really appreciate it. I also would like to thank Dewey for their presentation. You're a hard act to follow with all you have been doing, and all of us have gone through your town many, many times and seen the changes. Next up is Louis, and actually Julia is going to be coming before Mary, I believe. Is that correct? No? Mary. Okay, Mary Voth is coming.
Okay, I'm going to try. I don't want to say to follow Dewey because that's not an option. But I'm not great at microphones, so if everybody can hear me, if you can't, holler, but that quiet, shy girl in the corner has never necessarily been me. Do something. Technology skills are mine.
This is being recorded?
Should we go that way? No, just down. Got it. Okay. So I want to reiterate what folks have said today. Thank you so much for having us. This is so important, and we learned so much. I've been blessed to be here. This is the second time I've been here. I joined you all last year as well. And I think what we're really here for, I'll be very honest with you, is to learn, to build more bridges, to understand, to gather your feedback, and to work more closely with you the rest of the year. We've got a lot of stuff going on, but we've also got a lot of things that we need to learn from other folks. So that being said, these are some of the things that we're working on. We've got some wayfinding projects going on. I think actually to go backwards for just a moment, think about Lewis. So as blessed we are that the Georgetown to Lewis Trail is going to be finished either later this year or next spring. We are the end of that trail. We are the Lewis end. So we've got a great downtown, we've got awesome restaurants, we've got the beach, we've got the #1 state park in the country, no offense to anybody in the country. And so what sometimes we often refer to is we've got a freight train of bikes coming down the Georgetown to Lewis Trail, and they're ending up in Lewis. From an e-bike standpoint, we are super excited that DelDOT is working on those things. We'd love to hear what that sounds like as it's going along and support it in any way. But we've got these folks ending up, let alone all the other wonderful folks that we have that are either residents, permanent, visitors, and then we also connect to the Gordon's Pond Trail, to Junction Breakwater. So we've got tons of trails and tons of folks coming. We're trying to figure that all out. We were the first section of the Georgetown to Lewis Trail that was built. And so we've got double bollards in places that now practices have changed. So we're working on changing those double bollards out at trail entrances where appropriate to single. We're working on some consistent signage because again, as things change, we're trying to change with that. We're very fortunate. We have a couple of TAP projects going on right now that are going to bring us some RRFBs in town that we have not had before, so that's going to help us. We've got an unintended consequence of a light that was added, which is super helpful because it crosses a major road, but there's a trail crossing not a block before that. So we've got folks kind of going super fast to get the light, and we've got a trail crossing there. So we're trying to figure that out. It's an unintended consequence. We're gonna put a silent policeman in it, see if that works before we have to come up with something else. We've got parking. We're not a big town. Many of us, how do we handle parking, especially during the summer season? And we've got to allow for all the different kinds of bikes that are parking these days. But also we've got cars, so now we've got some conversations going on about we're losing some bike lanes because they need it to park cars, so then we're gonna put people out in the road, or do we direct everybody to a trail, but I don't wanna ride on the trail, I still wanna ride in the road. So we have all these kind of conversations going on. We've got some crosswalk lighting conversations that we're having. You know, lots of folks are talking about dark sky lighting in some developments, but then we've got some crosswalks where we're working to make sure that they're lit as properly as possible. We're excited. There's a couple of Lewis 250 events that will have some rides. We'll get those out and publicize and hope any folks that can join us. And our town, like many, are working on its comprehensive plan. So we're trying to make sure that as much as what we want to do is in those plans so that it happens over the next 10 or 15 years. We have a 7-member committee. We have 6 members right now. We need to add 1 more. We have a great committee, awesome people. Maybe their arms don't raise quite as quickly as it sounds like yours do. So maybe you could share a little bit of those secrets to us. But we could use folks' help. We could use your recommendations. The last slide I have, and don't cringe, folks, is we would love to get this gang back together more frequently than once a year. This has been such a gift. Whether we could do it quarterly, whether we could do it semi-annually, you all want to come to Lewis and hang out and we'll take a ride on the trails. We need to continue to learn from you all, and we appreciate you having us. So thank you.
So while DelDOT has the ABC program up in the Lewis-Rehoboth area, here in this area, it's run by Mariners Bethel Church. They've allocated an area for it, and they have a training area. They provide a lot of great training for our J1 students, and I'd like to have them come up and introduce themselves. Mike Shriver, right? Yep.
Just sit down. Okay. This is dangerous that Will's giving me the ability to manage this computer. Yeah, you stay right there. It works. Well, good morning, everybody. Once again, thanks for having us, and we really appreciate the opportunity to participate with the advisory committee. Kind of shifting a little bit because we're moving from what the state and the cities are doing to what our program is doing. I've got a lot of slides. I'm going to go through them real quickly. A lot of you know about ABC, so I'm going to skip through some of the information, but I just want to introduce two of our teammates that are here with us today. Kemp Dawson. Kemp. Kemp is part of our leadership team and manages student engagement. And when I can convince him, he also is one of our trainers and is very good at it. Although his primary responsibility is engaging with the students and making sure they get a bike. Dave Sykes is our community engagement person. A lot of the visuals that you see, our logo, our tagline and stuff, David's the brainchild of all of that, just trying to create a brand for the organization that's noticeable. So our mission is very simple. Our mission is to provide reliable bicycles to people who want to go to work at the end of the day. That's what we focus on. I want to talk a little bit about who we serve. ABC is known for us being provider of bikes to the J1 students, right? When you think of it, that's what you think about. When we support kids in this part of the county that show up to work here, there's about 660 kids on a regular basis. I call them kids, students, because they're all university students. We touch about 300 of them, right? So about 35% of those students get bikes from us. That represents about 75% of what we do as an organization. But there's 25% who are people in our communities that live here all the time, that are in need, that are challenged with various things that happen in our communities. They're in recovery. They are dealing with homelessness. They're families that don't have the resources to be able to provide bicycles to their kids. And so our program operates 12 months a year to help not just those J1 students that are here from March through October, but the families, the individuals in our community as well. We support the Code Purple program, for instance, over at Bethany Christian Church during the winter time. We provide Marie and her team with bikes for those kids or those people that are out there. Shepherd's Office, the Christian church I mentioned earlier, the Indian River School Program, Families in Transition. We give them all the kids' bikes that we collect. And we usually collect about 50 kids' bikes a year that people donate. It was mentioned earlier, we have a great partnership with the bike program up in Rehoboth. And working with Dan Casapullo and John has been great. It's mutual. As a matter of fact, I'm heading up your way tomorrow with 22 bikes for John and for Dan. So we have bikes that we don't use. We send them up there. And then something that we just started working on in the last year, we had a group, the Bicycle and Pedestrian Safety Advisory Group in Ocean City reached out to us and wanted to know what we were doing. They had heard about it because they have a couple of churches that are providing bikes to students in Ocean City. So we've been participating with them, and the goal is just to share everything we have. We have a lot of best practices. We have a number of innovative approaches that we use. We shared all of our training information with them. We shared all our communication. We shared, I think we sent about 50 bikes down to them so that they could use them. So we are definitely in a position where what we want to do is help other programs like ours that are starting in other parts of our community here in southern Sussex County to provide bikes to people who need them. So 100% of our bikes are donated. We will receive anywhere from 100 to 125 bikes every year that people donate. It's not unusual for us to show up at the shop during one of our shifts and have 5 or 6 bikes sitting outside. We can't use all of the bikes, so we do share them like I mentioned. Some of the bikes, and we take every bike that anybody donates, even if it to us is something that's at its end of its useful life. Our scrapper likes it when we have those bikes because he takes those. One of the things that, so if a student needs a bike, we have these flyers that are going to be passed out to all the employers. We work with over 50 employers in the area. Student is able to just take a picture of the QR code, go into our Sign Up Genius application online, register for a bike on a specific day when they can come, and we collect information from them as part of that so we can know where the student is and where they're working. Thursdays are our distribution day, and I think you've been out to visit during what we call our controlled chaos day because we will have up to 30 students that show up at 8 o'clock in the morning. And we have 3 teams that are working that day. They're all volunteers. We have the welcome team, checks the student in, gives them a helmet, gives them a lock, gives them a backpack. They go inside the shop. They finish the registration process. And then the third team is our mechanics are out with the bikes that they can choose from. We fit the bike for them, make sure that everything is ready to go, and then we send them over to our training team. Our training team is usually about 3 or 4 of our volunteers. Right now, 2 of our volunteers are certified trainers through the League of American Bicyclists. They're nationally certified. We also participate, we have the Ocean View Police Department will participate in those trainings occasionally. And then Mariners has a program where the student can come back another day that same week that they get a bike, and they have food for them. Because a lot of times the students, when they arrive, although they're supposed to have money when they get here, they don't a lot of times. And this gives them some food to get them started for the week until they get paid. Here's some of the pictures that you can see. So safety. 2 years ago, Chief McLaughlin and his team somehow, I think it was legal, Pat. I mean, I'm still checking on that. He found 600 backpacks that Walmart donated to him for us. And so this is a picture of the backpack, and we purchased the yellow triangle, the reflective triangle, and we have them attached to the backpack. They're stapled on there so they don't fall off. When you see a student with this backpack, that's one of our students. Chief Foley told me yesterday he saw a group of our students riding down 26, I think it was, and they all had backpacks on, and he knew they were ours because of the triangle. We give all the students, every bike we give out has lights on it, a front and a back light. They're rechargeable. They have the backpack, and we issue a helmet. The bikes are also marked with reflective tape, so we try to do everything we can to have the students stand out, because the thing, the uniform of choice for a lot of our students is what? Black pants and black shirt. And so we're doing our best. One of the things that we've done this year, and we're pretty excited about it as a team, is we've made a concerted effort to recruit women for our team. And we did that for the sole purpose that we want our demographics as volunteers to represent the same demographics of the students that we're supporting. You know, we as volunteers we're very cognizant about maintaining a safe sanctuary at Mariners. And, you know, the idea of us helping a female student put helmets on and fit the helmet and fit the bike can be a little awkward and uncomfortable for us as volunteers. So fortunately, we now have 6 women who've joined our team, not only for training, but also to be that ambassador with the female students. And so we're pretty excited about that. So they'll be on staff during distribution days. The students go through classroom training, and you all remember that we used to have a program where we gave out gift cards if we caught you wearing your helmet. We spent a lot of money giving out gift cards, but generally only about 30 students got gift cards out of nearly 300 students that we issued bikes to. So we weren't changing behavior in the way we wanted to. So this year we came up with a contract, and the contract basically, it'll be in the student's language, and it basically is saying, look, if you're going to use our bike, you have to agree to wear our helmets, use the lights, operate correctly, follow the laws, you know, don't do anything stupid, like when you're riding and you have your phone in your hand and your hands are not on the handlebars and you have earbuds in. Yeah. We have the right to take the bike away from the student if we see that there's a gross violation in that. We've never done it, but we've got to do something to change their behavior. The other thing that we're doing is that in the training, we have a presentation that we do. We're upgrading that to include kind of shock and awe a little bit, right? Not gross pictures, but we want to show them pictures of accidents involving bikes and cars. And we want to stress the fact that, you know, our goal, our number one goal with them as students is that we want to send them back home in the same condition that they arrived here, safe. And we want to remind them, we're going to stress this, that your families are thousands of miles away worried about you. And we want you to go home to them safe. And so we'll continue to stress the idea of wearing helmets. and riding your bike properly. Here's some of the rodeos that are being done. And I think back in the fall when we had a meeting, one of the things that Dave created for us and the trainers are these, these little posters. And we've done some videos too. These are available to anybody who wants them to use in your efforts to try to increase safety for pedestrians and anyone visiting, our communities during the season. So our staff, this is an old picture. Because see, we have one female here. Now we have 6. We have, believe it or not, we have 30 volunteers going into the 2026 season. When this picture was taken, we had 21. So we've really had an increase in the interest. And what's interesting is our volunteers come from all walks of life. I mean, we have former law enforcement. We have military. We have people that are biochemists. We have engineers. We have people that worked in HR. We have nonprofit guys like myself. But they come from all walks of life. And Dave and I talk about we're all in the 4th phase of our retirement, right? You laugh, but our 4th phase is that we want to give back what we've been fortunate enough to live during our lives and our careers. We want to do this because it's satisfying for us, and we care about what we do. This is our leadership team. Again, another one of Dave's creation, the leadership wheel, if you will. We have, and a lot of our guys and women are cyclists. We all grew up riding, we all grew up building, we all grew up racing, or just touring on bikes. And so we have a total of 6 shifts during the week, Monday through Friday. And if you show up there between 9 and 12, you're going to run into somebody, or between 1 and 4 on Wednesday. There isn't really much we can't fix or do as mechanics. And when we can't, we go down and we visit Randy Hall at Bicycle Connection, because Randy's really been a guardian angel for us over the years. This is an example of our schedule. We got a couple of floaters in there, as you can see, that'll fill in. The other thing we do is that we have a service phone system. When a student gets a bike, they have information about how to contact us if that bike breaks down, anytime during their visit here in the country. Our mechanics are on duty every week carrying the phone. If I get a text, I have a go box with everything I need to go fix their bike. We've had a great partnership with the town of Bethany Beach, where we have the ability to park wherever we need to fix the bikes while we're out doing them, because 90% of the bikes we fix are generally within town limits. This is a schedule for the shop, the phone, for the service phone. Each team has it for 5 weeks during the season, generally from April through October. We try our best to be involved with the community as much as we can. We participate in the Bethany Beach Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee, the one in Ocean City, the one in South Bethany. We partner with Chief Foley and his team during the picnic, the annual picnic, with the J1 students. It'll be the 3rd year this year for that. We'll issue bikes at the picnic, so that way we have a capture of at least 30 students. We participate in St. Martha's annual picnic. We set up a repair stand, and it doesn't matter whether it's our bike or not, we fix them if they need fixed. The other thing that we're involved with is we're going to be participating in all of the bicycle checkpoints for Ocean View as well as Bethany Beach this year, as we've done in the past, just helping out any way we can. This is at St. Martha's. This is in South Bethany. We're self-funded. I mean, we do have a nice reserve that we've been able to build over the years, thanks to Bob Parson, who started us in 2004. But we rely on a lot of grants and donations that we get throughout the year. We just received a grant from the Office of Highway Safety to purchase helmets and lights. Send 2 of our volunteers to the certification training with League of American Bicyclists. And Quiet Resorts Community Foundation was very generous to us last year. Sussex County Council also has supported us. And we have a bike sale. Don't look at that date. That's from last year. Our bike sale is on April 25th this year. It's a Saturday. It's at Mariners. We have about 35 bikes that have been donated that are very high-end bikes. And we reserve those and we put them out for sale to help our funding. We generally raise about $3,500, $3,000 to $3,500 during the bike sale. And that helps fund us. I gave Randy a shout out earlier, and we can't thank him enough. He's been a godsend for us, he and his team. And then, and this is in your this particular report is in your packet that you've got in the bag. So it just goes to show you that, I mean, in 2025 we had 22 volunteers. We now have 30, 3,000 hours, 4,000 miles. We've done about almost 40 hours of training for the students, 284 bikes last year. We've given out probably 100 to 115 bikes to people in need in the community through all the programs I mentioned. Students come from about 35 different countries typically, and we have about 50 different businesses that we support in the community. And this is probably the best thing for our volunteers, because we collect these and we have them in a binder in the shop. These are notes from students. You know, they're saying just their thank you. And they really, it means a lot to the volunteers to see that. Because we have a relationship with them. And that's it.
I think I can speak for everyone in this room in thanking ABC for the amazing service that they have given to our community. Okay, next up is Millville. If you would like to come up and introduce yourselves.
Hi, everyone. I'm Eileen Shara, the town manager of Millville. It's supposed to be the mayor who's presenting, but he's not here today, so I was pressured. Honestly, it's my first time, and I'm so happy to be here. He was here last year. He's talked so highly about it, and I wanted to come out to see for myself, and I'm so impressed. So I'm here to learn, honestly, and for the free lunch. But what we're doing here in Millville, we just wanted to see what we can do more. So we're here to listen. And what we're hoping to get with grants, we're working on cross bikes and crosswalks along 26. And really, our communities do have connectivity and bike trails, but we want to see more of that. So we're just here to learn and hear you guys out, okay? Thank you.
The North Bethany Coalition's been active for a number of years here because of problems that they've seen along that stretch of Route 1 between Bethany Beach and the Indian River Bridge. And I'd like them to come up and tell us a little bit about their solutions, which they've been working with DelDOT extensively.
First of all, thank you to Teresa and Mickey and the whole Bethany town team for hosting this awesome event. And the passion and the caring in this room is so refreshing. It really, every time over the past 5 or 10 years I've met some of you all, it's just been pretty inspirational. And then Jacqueline and Jonah, thank you, your comments, music to our ears. So we're definitely going to follow up with you all. So I'm Seth Hammond, and I am, okay, thank you. So I'm Seth Hammond. I'm a 25-year resident of North Bethany, a 25-year HOA board member of Cotton Patch Hills. I can't seem to get off the HOA board there. And I'm the founder of the Coalition for a Safer North Bethany Beach. So who are we? We were founded in 2019. We're a grassroots organization that was formed to give the densely populated, unincorporated North Bethany Beach area a long overdue voice after years of concerns going unheard. We represent 20-plus communities, almost 1,300 homes in North Bethany, along with key stakeholders, the restaurant leaders, Sodell, La Vida Hospitality Group, all the real estate and property management firms, all the local bike shops, and the cyclist clubs. Our mission is simple and urgent: to save lives by highlighting the dangers traveling along and crossing Route 1 in North Bethany and advocating for improving safety conditions for pedestrians, cyclists, and drivers. Data collection and analysis guides our work. My career has always been in research. I'm a nerd. You focus on the data, it doesn't lie. Past 4 years, DelDOT and Whitman Reckhart, which is WRA, a leading engineering firm in the area, they've done a fantastic job. We've worked very closely with Anthony. I do consider all these people friends because of the passion that they share with us and the efforts they've put forth to help us. They've collected and analyzed the data. They've used their engineering expertise to suggest solutions that were really never there before. So timeline. So we started this thing maybe 10 years ago, but we organized and we formed a petition letter that we sent to Governor Carney and DelDOT in February of 2020. Great timing, right? So it took a little while. We were very patient, but we got a first meeting with 2 ladies from DelDOT at my house in July of 2020, and then it just started rolling from there. I reached out to DenRec. Fresh Pond State Park right here on Route 1 has a massive flow of traffic, but nobody seems to acknowledge that trailhead was a dangerous point. So we asked DenRec to collect the data, and they did. And they put counters in. And I took that data to Ron Gray. Ron looked at the data when we met in December 21, and I think it blew him away. It was year-round, it was much more than expected, and it led him to fund our request to collect and study more data in March of that year. In July, we met with Ron and Gerald Hawker, the team at DelDOT, WRA team, and we had a powwow at the Fresh Pond State Park to brainstorm. DelDOT has hosted 3 total public workshops focusing on this issue since October of 22, and attendance and survey responses, I've been told, of support blew away prior DelDOT records. Here's a picture of North Bethany. You guys know it. You just drove through here. You can see it's a straight line. This is the road that to some drivers looks like a drag strip. It's 4 lanes. It's a wide median. They're wide shoulders. Our goal is to make this look less like a drag strip. Summer of 22 was a big year. This is when the data really started being collected by the team at DelDOT. you can see that, for example, this was on July 30th, one day, July 30th of that year, 2022, which is a Saturday. I'll point out that Saturday for a lot of the rental units is turnover day. So you don't have a lot of bikers and runners on Saturdays. You have a lot of cars. But on this Saturday, volumes along Route 1 totaled 260 pedestrians, 660 bikers. Crossing Route 1, which is extremely dangerous when traffic's going 55 miles an hour, you had 130 people crossing on bikes or cars, and 51 of those were at the Fresh Pond State Park. So DelDOT hosted a workshop that October. A majority of the survey respondents were residents. Majority were worried about the high speed limit and the high traffic volumes. DelDOT advanced the design as a reaction for 3 high-priority RRFB crossings, the ones in green on this slide, and they also allocated additional funding to study the problem more. It's a super complicated issue. We'd always been told that people didn't care by some of the politicians. So these surveys kind of blew them away, especially the one in May of 2024. We had 1,100 people responded to the survey. Most of those people were residents and regular visitors. 80% were in support of a lower speed limit. The majority were in favor of RFBs. The majority also wanted a shared use path with separation and a guardrail. So there were delays due to construction. Understandable given what was happening in the world at this time, but in 2025, we were happy to have our first RRFB, and I think as Anthony called it, it was a Cadillac of RRFBs. We had the massive overhead lights. We had advanced warning. You can't see it in this slide, but there's advanced warning signals, maybe 50 yards before the crossing. And there's the advanced signage. There's a signage. We never had a sign here noting that this was a state park trailhead. So we're thankful to have that. Simultaneous with the signage and the first attempt at traffic calming in the area with this RRFB, speed limits were lowered. They were lowered from 55 to 50 from Dewey to the bridge. And then in the densely populated North Bethany area, where we were at 55, the speed limit was adjusted to 45. And that's really only with one traffic calming device, right? We've had more signage, but one RRFB. So you can imagine, as we now are going to have 2 more RRFBs, one where the old recycling center used to be close to Fred Hudson Road, under construction now to be completed Memorial Day, and then one at the beginning, if you're traveling southbound, the beginning of the densely populated North Bethany area, right before Matt's Fish Camp, and this, once again, under construction now and will be completed by Memorial Day. So what are our next steps? So if you think about what people ask for, they ask for a shared use path with separation, and what we need is more traffic calming. DelDOT recommended or proposed that we reconfigure the road as part of the next regular pave and rehab project. DelDOT has a list of pave and rehab projects they do across the state. I don't know where we are on that list, but one of my goals is to get us bumped to the top of that list, because we're going to spend the money anyway to pave and rehab the road, and just by restriping it, we can narrow the lanes, which is once again traffic calming, and we can stripe a wide buffer space. And for a little extra money, we can put guardrails. We're going to put guardrails down the middle, similar to Dewey. It won't be fancy with the ropes, but I guess it'll just be a guardrail to keep people from crossing when they shouldn't, where they shouldn't. But we'll have a guardrail on either side, and if you have these guardrails and the extra space, which the 1,100 people in the survey asked for, you're going to have physical separation. And when you have physical separation, you can now have a 2-way bike path on either side, which means less people will have to cross Route 1. So less conflict. So this is what's going to look like once we get this thing done and funded. The top slide is what it looks like now. You narrow the lanes to 11 from 12, and it has a calming effect. It looks less like a drag strip. You separate with a buffer and a guardrail, and people have peace of mind. You know, the holy grail or the gold standard would be the long-term improvements that DelDOT and WRA have suggested. What they'd like to see is a shared use path with a guardrail and a grass buffer, and you know, we would too. But I just think, being honest with the current funding environment, with the current you know, headwinds for funding, I think we'd be happy with the midterm, because it's all about time with these projects, and as we all care, saving lives, right? So time means lives. I will point out that part of the long-term plan, which we'd like to get accelerated to the midterm plan, are 3 more RRFBs to cross traffic, to calm the flow of traffic even more. And if you notice, location 5, Town of Bethany, one of the crossings used to be in North Bethany, has been shifted to Bethany because it makes more sense to put it there where you guys need one, right at the VFW barbecue chicken shack, right? So I think that's a great location. So DelDOT's been studying the speed data, and Anthony, I don't know whether this is still funded beyond April or not, but I think I read that it was only funded through April. But you can see when you had a step down in the speed limit from 55 to 45, you did see a downward trend in the average pace of traffic. However, with more calming, the 2 RRFBs, which will be completed by Memorial Day, I would bet that this line is going to continue to dip, which is what we want to see.
Yeah, we got money for 1 more year.
Excellent, excellent. That's great. And I mean, by Memorial Day, we'll have these 2 other crossings in. I can't imagine that line's not going to dip more. So yeah, so the rehab project, the midterm rehab project, which with Anthony and his team have recommended, if we can get part of this, it's simple restriping, and you know, we can talk about the dollars later. But I think having the extra dollars for the physical guardrails will give people peace of mind. So how to use an RRFB? That's the question, right? That Dewey was addressing. I mean, you have to press the button and wait. And even when you do that, not everybody stops. And you know, my wife's like, nobody, you know, only some of them stop. I'm like, well, at least some of them are stopping, you know, and you have to wait. And we're unincorporated, so we don't have the luxury of having a local police force. We have the DSP, who've done a great job, and when we call them, they respond, they come out. But I think a little more enforcement would go a long way in North Bethany. So this is kind of hokey, but this is kind of a theme that I think resonates, and I've sent this to the Governor Meyer when he was running, and we went back and forth a little bit on blue zones. And I don't know if anybody knows what a blue zone is. You know, this professor studied parts of the world where people live long, to like 100. And it's a great Netflix series. It's called Live to 100, Secrets of the Blue Zones. The movement highlights a simple truth. Communities that are bikeable and walkable are healthier. Low stress shared use paths encourage residents and visitors to bike and walk more. So there's measurable benefits to health and well-being here in the slower lower. The health advantages of biking and walking are obvious, but the ripple effects for the towns go even further. Reduced traffic congestion, cleaner air, access to town. I mean, it's expensive to park in Bethany, Rehoboth, Lewis, and there aren't that many spots. So, you know, more access to the town means stronger local businesses, and you have increased foot and bike traffic. So anyway, when the towns build safe, separate, low-stress paths, people use them. The infrastructure gives residents a place to walk or ride and peace of mind to choose those modes of transportation. Bikers and pedestrians have every right to use the road as a driver does. Evidence continues to show that communities become safer overall when they invest in bike and pedestrian-friendly design. So it's not just for cyclists and walkers, but for drivers as well. So once again, thanks to Mickey and Teresa and the town of Bethany for hosting event. I think the spirit of collaboration is how we get things done in the slower lower. We have a Facebook group called the Coalition for Safer North Bethany. I've tried to put as many educational articles up there. We've had a lot of help from Delaware Greenways and BikeDelaware.org, so thank you, Mary. And then James Wilson from I suggest you all work with both of these organizations because they know what they're talking about. They've been super helpful. Last time I saw Mary, we were on bikes together, riding around the area and looking at things. To Anthony and Del, to Whitman Rec, true experts care about pedestrian safety. And then a special shout out to Rep. Ron Gray and Gerald Hocker and Councilman Doug Hudson. So I'm open to chat. I'll be here through lunch.
Thank you, Seth, and also thank you for giving an RRFB to Bethany. we appreciate that. We've been talking about that. Next up is Ocean View. If you would please come up and introduce yourself and your crew.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ken Simoneau, and I'm the Planning Director at Town of Ocean View. Town Manager Hal couldn't be here this morning, so I am standing in for her. I do not have a PowerPoint presentation, so I'm going to walk you through some of the things that we have accomplished since 2019 in our bicycle and pedestrian safety efforts. The first project that we worked on, we reached out to DelDOT at the time. Mark Luss was the chief traffic engineer, about installing enhanced pavement markings along 26 in the bike lanes. So we worked with Mark and our consultant engineers, and in 2020 we put out a project where we installed the enhanced pavement markings at 7 unsignalized intersections where we had conflicts with motor vehicles and bicycles with left turning movements. Also, we installed enhanced warning signs for motorists and the bicycles, just advising that, hey, there's bicycles in the lanes, and to be aware of left turning vehicles, and for the left turning vehicles to be aware of bicycles. So that effort, since we've installed those markings and the enhanced signing, we haven't had any significant crashes related to intersections on Route 26 between bicycles and shortly after that, we started to work on our pedestrian connectivity network. We designed, constructed, installed sidewalks along West Avenue from Route 26 to the John West Park. These projects resulted in us completely rehabilitating that section of roadway, shifting the roadway, constructing the sidewalks, and also adding drainage improvements and a small 3-foot grass strip, because you know it's flat down here, water doesn't go anywhere, and our goal is to achieve 1% of slope to try to get the water off the roadway. So that project finished in 2020. We have 2 other segments that have been designed and are sitting on a shelf ready to go that'll take us up to Central Avenue and tie into DelDOT's shared youth path that they're doing on both sides of Cedar Neck Road, taking everyone down to Hickman Avenue. We've completed 2 other segments. We have connectivity from SR 26 along Woodland Avenue. You can walk along Woodland Avenue and via Daisy and get to the Assawoman Canal Trail. Our last segment of sidewalk there has been designed, it's been awarded, it'll be out for construction this September. So that will complete that connectivity effort. Moving forward, right now we're focused on bicycle safety along Central Avenue. We're trying to work with DelDOT. Central Avenue is their road. We'll be happy to assist them and partner with them, but we have kind of a fragmented bicycle lane. You have some areas where the bicycle lane is dedicated and it's marked. There's other areas where there's a 4-foot shoulder with no markings, and yet there's other areas where there's no room for bicycle lanes. So We put in for a grant last year. We didn't get it. We're going to continue to work with those folks and hopefully bring that to fruition. Looking at my notes, moving forward, our plans for this year, we're starting design of widening Woodland Avenue between Central Avenue and Muddy Neck Road. The design will bring us enhanced drainage, 2 10-foot travel lanes and 2 4-foot bike lanes in each direction to give us more bicycle connectivity through that area. Let me see what else. We are also, I can't read my scribble, so you have to bear with me. We're also investigating grant opportunities for the installation of a rectangular rapid flashing beacon at Lord Baltimore Elementary School along Route 26. We've also had some preliminary meetings with the Department of Transportation about solutions for the stacking that occurs during the AM student drop-off period and the PM student pickup period at Lord Baltimore Elementary School. That stacking creates not only traffic hazards for our motor vehicles, because the stacking takes up the bike lane, it takes up half of the travel lane, traffic is moving into the two-way left turn lane, bicycles are forced out into the roadway, they don't have their dedicated bike lane to travel in, so we're hoping to get something done down there. We're working on that this year. I think that's pretty much the things we've done, and that's what we're looking at getting done this 2026. If you have any questions, be happy to try to answer your questions. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Probably the most vehicles in the area over the vacation season happens in Rehoboth Beach, and you just can't move there. And so if you're a pedestrian or a bicyclist, it's a really tough go. So we'll have a representative from Rehoboth Beach come and tell us what they're trying to do to help out.
Well, good morning. Thank you for having us. And again, 3rd year, so that's remarkable. So that's really fantastic. So thank you so much. And really appreciate having representatives from the governor's office and lieutenant governor's office. So I think we're going to do a 2-tier approach here. Recently in 2025, we put the city came up with a committee, the Streets and Safety Committee. And quite honestly, as a police officer, sometimes I'm like, okay, another committee, safety, where are we going with this? Yes, and quite honestly, there have been a wealth of information. They've been very helpful, and it's been a team effort, and they're coming with a lot of good ideas. So I think what's going to happen is I'm going to ask Dave, he's a board member, to come up and introduce himself, and he's got a PowerPoint that he's going to present, and then I will come back and talk about some statistics and answer any questions or any topics that he brings up that I can maybe move in on. So thank you, Dave.
Gotta put the glasses on. All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Chief. Just real quick here, so I have just a few slides. So as the Chief said, I'm a committee member of the City Streets and Safety Advisory Committee. I'm just a volunteer member. All right. Just the agenda here real quick, what I'm going to talk about, give you a little bit of background about our committee, some current initiatives, some possible future topics, and a proposed bike network that we're working on, and then if anybody obviously has any questions. All right, just a little quick about the background. As Chief said, this committee was just established in November. So Rehoboth used to have a variety of committees. I think there was about 5 of them. and they would work on different topics. And some of the topics that the committees worked on, the commissioners didn't necessarily approve. We were like, some committees were kind of spinning their wheels. So a couple years ago, they just basically eliminated all the committees. They thought about what they were going to do, and they've combined, I think, 5 committees into 2. And so our Streets and Safety Advisory Committee basically looks at safety across, as the chief said, safety across the town, everything from the beach, the boardwalk, the streets, the bicycles, the pedestrians, and animal issues. So our first meeting was in November of 2025, and the difference with this committee is the Board of Commissioners have to approve any topics that we're going to work on. So they don't want us to go down a bunch of rabbit holes. So we throw out ideas. We say, okay, this sounds like this is worth taking up. And we present one of the, I failed to mention that. So there's 7 members on the committee, and it's chaired by one of the commissioners. So the commissioner takes it to the Board of Commissioners, and if they approve what we work on, then we can go forth and try to do good things. And so that committee, we meet at 1000 hours on the second Thursday of each month. So if anybody wants to come and participate, you're more than welcome. If you have any great ideas that we can work on, come let us know. We'll be all about that. All right, just a couple current initiatives that we're working on. So looking at improving bicycle safety around the town, improve signage. So some of the signs we have, we're trying to point people to the Breakwater Trail and get them off the main roads. So we want to try to improve the signs. We've got a lot of, seems to be confusing signs around the city. So we're taking that up. Next one that we have is the commissioners just approved this bike fix-it stations. You've all seen them. Anybody's a biker understands that they're all over the trail up at the Breakwater. So basically, it's a pole that has tools that are attached to it, and you can hang your bike on it. If you have a malfunction of your bike, you can hopefully fix it with the tools that are there, and has a pump if you get a flat tire. We also are looking to update our bike network maps. We have some maps that are provided. They're on the city website, and the bicycle rental shops can hand them out. But we want to put QR codes on them, attach them to some of the new signs that we want to put up, and also put a QR code on the bike fix-it station. So I mentioned that the bike network. I got a slide at the very end here, just kind of shows. We're trying to get the bikes off of the high traveled roads, being Rehoboth Avenue, Bayard Avenue, and some of the main arteries in and out of the town. That's a little bit difficult in the summertime. We have multitude of cars and bikes and everything else and parking, but we're going to try to do our best to move those cars, move the bikes off the main roads, get them to some of the neighborhood, and then they can work their way up to the beach or the bandstand or Rehoboth Avenue. Next thing is improve pedestrians' safety. So we're looking at additional crosswalks. I know we've had a DelDOT rep talk to our commissioner on the committee. We're trying to just add some crosswalks, make it easier for the pedestrians to get across some of the roads. We've had some pretty good success with the silent policemen. We put them all along King Charles Avenue, which is the first road that is parallel to the beach. We have a Catholic church is right there, and it is vastly slowed traffic down. I mean, it was taking your life in your own hands, even with a 25-mile-an-hour roadway, to walk across that road. It's the main road you have to cross to go to the beach. And these silent policemen, I think personally, have made a huge difference. Road striping, we're looking at road striping. A couple years ago on Munson Street, which was one of the roads that leads you out of town that heads into the circle, we had a lot of, we had speeders going there. So Chief did some measuring. There was like 40 mile an hour on some of them, and some of them were actually passing on the road in a development. So we double striped that road with the yellow, and then we did this painted driveway boxes, which somebody else had mentioned. It narrows the roadway down, right? Makes you think it's a smaller road, so you slow down. So we're looking at that on a couple of the roads up north, on the north side of town, Henlopen and what's the other one? I can't.
Columbia, right, thank you. We're trying to do that and then kind of narrow that road down. And then the last thing we're looking at is the solar-powered speed signs, not the cameras, but just the solar-powered gives you your speed that you're going down. I think that also helps, and we also put that on Munson, and that really helped. And just a couple of things, possible future topics we're looking at. Looking at sidewalk conditions. As you know, Rehoboth is the tree city, so we have a lot of trees that are near the sidewalks, and they end up raising the roots end up raising the sidewalk. It's a trip hazard. So we're going to try to take that up and figure out how we can fix some of these sidewalks. We're going to look at some more crosswalks. Working with DelDOT, I know we'd love to have a couple more crosswalks along Rehoboth Avenue. But it's DelDOT Road, we understand that. We have to work with DelDOT. So trying to figure out if we can get some extra crosswalks in different locations. I already mentioned the confusing and excessive signs. I'm going to take that up. And then bike lanes where applicable. We might only have a couple streets where we can squeeze a bike lane in. Rehoboth is kind of the parking, you have parking on both sides. Roads are narrow, a lot of traffic, but we're looking into that, see if we can make that happen. The other thing is the bike rack locations. Like we mentioned earlier, we're trying to get the bikes off the main roads, the Rehoboth Avenue. We're trying to figure out where we can put bike racks in better locations so people, ride their bikes and they can lock them up. They don't have to lock them up to trees and posts and everything else. So we're taking a look at that. And then increase police enforcement. I don't want to talk about what the chief's doing, but hopefully we can get people to slow down a little bit more. And then, of course, anything we do, we have to make sure that the city code reflects those changes, because we talk about we're not allowed to have bikes on the sidewalks, et cetera. We want to make sure anything we do matches what the city code says. And my last slide here, this is kind of what our proposed bike network looking like. As you can see, town's not very big. As you come in from the left-hand side, coming in from west, you cross the canal, and that first circle is our circle right there, which is, high volume, high traffic. Trying to get the bikes off that circle if possible. A lot of accidents can happen there. Cars are flying around the circle too fast, and there's crosswalks there. Anyway, we're looking to try to direct the traffic, the bike traffic, to the north or to the south, and work their way up to the beach and the bandstand and kind of just get them off Bayard Avenue and Rehoboth Avenue. So that's what we're kind of work on, and that's where we'd put these, the QR codes would have the bike network on it, and it also going to distribute these to the bike rental agencies. So, and that's all I have. If anybody had any questions, if not, I'll just turn it back over to the Chief.
Thank you, Dave. As you see, the committee, again, it's newly formed, so they're up and running, and they've been a great partner with us. I thought what I would talk about is some things that's going on since last year. So how did 2025 went and overall. First thing that we need to talk about, the last 2 years has been a big issue down at the bandstand. Every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday we have bandstand concerts and all. And originally it was set for people watching, sit down on the bench and watch the shows. Well, they're so popular, we're having 1,500, 2,000, sometimes 3,000 people in there. Where are they standing? Where are they sitting? So they're up on the sidewalks. They're in the middle of the roadway. So now we're looking at, okay, last year we decided we're going to have 2 officers up there at all times, block it with vehicles, because you never know, have a medical emergency, a car runs up in there with everybody standing in the middle of the roadway. Hey, so that started to work. We actually put lanes in for barriers to maintain 2 lanes of travels, and that helps with the bus, DART buses, the Jolly Trolley stop, and all that. And then we actually outlined with traffic cones another drop-off area for Uber Eats, handicap, pedestrians, and all that that's dropping off so they can get pick the product up, because we were getting a lot of complaints from the local businesses that while these shows are going on, we've shut everything down. So it's a give and take in trying to work out. So that worked really well. But what happens? We have people that are at the beach during the day, park their vehicles, the concerts come on, they're at the dinner, then they're ready to leave. They're not watching the show, they want to leave, and they just try backing out of parking spaces. And it's filled with hundreds and hundreds of individuals. So this year, we're going to go ahead and stop that, block them from being down there at all, totally, with signage and with the meters not allowing them to pay after a certain hour when the concerts are on. The city's working with the businesses and trying to maybe even change up the days of the concerts, maybe though in the middle of the week, so not so much on every weekend to help out. So that's the future for 2026. But if you go to Rehoboth Beach today, you're going to see they're working on bollards downtown, because that's the other thing that was identified with again, you know, we talk about Homeland Security and issues like that, but a lot of times it's just a medical issue, or someone's confused, or somebody's foot slips off the brake pedal and runs out. So we're actually installing bollards. They weren't necessarily popular because, you know, we're always worried about we're always working together trying to look at, okay, what's it look like, you know, make sure the enhancements beautify our town, but at the same time make sure it's safe. So they are going in up and down the entire boardwalk, different areas. There'll actually be swing gates and all that, so somewhat like Ocean City, Maryland, that's done in the past. We have so many events. It really came down to we didn't have a choice. We had a lot of tabletop exercises with DEMA and outside entities that came in and looked at it, and they were just surprised why we didn't have that. We actually did a mock issue, like if somebody was coming down the boardwalk and wanted to hit all the vendors, because down there at Sea Witch, with our event, Sea Witch, that weekend we'll have 160,000 people over 3 days in 1 square mile town. So that's a lot, and most of us downtown for our parade. So we're trying to enhance that. So we're working on that totally. So that's new for 2026. And like I said, we enhanced it 2025 to secure that up. Traffic crashes and statistics. A lot of people are interested in that since we're talking about pedestrians and bicycles and mopeds and scooters. I kind of wanted to look at that. This year, for all 3 of those, we had a total of 10 crashes that involved that. So let me break that down. Bicycles, there was a total of 4. One involved an e-bicycle. The operator was intoxicated and ran in back of a parked vehicle. So unfortunately. This is, obviously, that was serious too, but this is more serious. One was a bicyclist, was a J1 student, unfortunately was struck by a drunk driver after she got off work, and that was headed home and had actually be flown up to Baltimore. So was not a good issue, and then, like I said, trying to contact family members outside the country. And so the person was arrested for DUI on that. And then we had 2 bicyclists that were hit by vehicles turning into parking spaces. And now the operator of the vehicles, both of them did have turn signals on and were turning into, and unfortunately the bicyclist just didn't stop and ran into it. So, you know, should the car waited to start the turn, or should the bicyclist or whatever? Because sometimes if we don't have a camera, we can't see who was in the position first. So I'm not here to pinpoint, but that's what we're seeing. Let's talk about mopeds and scooters. We had 4 of those, and 1 moped. We'll start with the 2, and there were 2 each. One of the mopeds drove into a fixed object. Again, bicycle operator error, was just going probably too fast, whatever, and actually hit a construction barrel is what they end up happening. And then the other one, the other moped was struck by a vehicle backing out of a parking space. The person did not see them behind there. And we have a lot of problems. If you're in Rehoboth Beach, backing and parking visibility is always very difficult. And we have hidden parking. And the 2 e-scooters, both of them, quite honestly, they're electric scooters and probably going too fast, and the same thing, cars were backing out of parking spaces, and this was clearly the e-bicycles thing. They ran right into the car or whatever, looking around, or couldn't stop in time. So that is one thing we're seeing in Rehoboth Beach is with these e-scooters, and they'll become more popular because the businesses are buying them and giving it to their students or to their employees to work. So it's that balancing act or whatever, and trying to teach them as far as safety, and also talk a little bit more about e-bikes and e-scooters a little bit later. The good news is, over the last 2 years, even though there was 10, well, I'm sorry, I didn't talk about pedestrians. I'm sorry. There was 2 pedestrians accidents, and both of them, unfortunately, the operator of vehicles were at fault, and the pedestrians were in the crosswalk. So they were using it properly. And what happens is in Rehoboth Beach, it's 2 lane on each way, east and west, and somebody will start moving, wait the person to walk across both sides or both side streets. Once they get through 1 lane, then the cars start moving, and that becomes problematic because somebody else has already started walking on the other side, and the operator of the vehicle is no longer looking, takes a foot off the brake, and hit both of them. Thankfully, they were just minor injuries from that. As I started to say, the good news is over the last 3 years or whatever, those stats have gone down. So 10 is way too many, but that we are trending downward on that. Again, I think it's just a lot of exposure and being out there on things that we're doing. I'll talk about that next. I would mention, since Anthony's here and John, Anthony and his team has been a great help with John. Henlopen Avenue to Bike Trail Connector, we're seeing issues on that at a lot of complaints. We have homeowners actually file petitions and saying there's speeding issues on that street. It's 25 miles an hour, but the reality is we've been out there, directed patrols, we've done a lot of data, we have that. There's no crash data to support issues. The problem is 25 mile an hour is just too fast in the morning on that street with because there's no sidewalks, so we're constantly dealing with bicyclists, joggers, walkers in the middle of the street and all that. So literally there's just not enough room to be all of that. So you could actually be going 10 miles an hour, 15, and everybody's just yelling at you to slow down and slow down. So, and that's the other thing skews, perception is reality, and that skews the data when we're out there, because when I get the speed counters out, it shows that we're only like 19, 20 miles an hour, but it's because everybody's going so slow in the morning, so they could be going 35 or 40 late afternoon when there's less traffic on there. So, it's hard to sit there, no wind to sit. So we are actually working on that. So some of the homeowners have asked for more stop signs. So we're looking at that. From a police standpoint, I got to weigh that again, if the city and the residents want it, that's what's ultimately is going to happen. But that's actually a trail out of town for us in Columbia Avenue for our events with our bike shuttles down at Henlopen Hotel that we shift everybody out. So as many events we have, again, keeping traffic moving is always a big thing for us to get out. So we have to weigh that option as we did. So we are looking at additional stop signs as was talked about. Columbia Avenue was other one I'm working with the state with, and again on State Road adding some stop signs. The one thing we do very poorly in Rehoboth Beach is the striping, and it looks like the mayor and commissioners, the city manager have decided that they are going to contract a lot of that out finally or whatever, because we can't keep up with it. We have a very small facilities department to be able to do the paint and striping, and it just can't be done. Everything fades. It's got to be fresh every year to keep up with it, and mark the lanes. And like I said, because the more markings you have, we can shrink the wide streets, because as Dave was mentioning on King Charles, that's a really, really open, wide street that we're dealing with, so we need to close that up. Again, just quickly, and it's been a long day. So for our safety initiative that's going on in Rehoboth Beach and participating with the police department, it's to a commitment to our road safety. We installed over 800 bicycle lights this summer on bicycles that were being operated without proper lighting, helping to ensure visibility and protection again. And we got the lights through Anthony and his team, and John, we can't thank them enough, as well as Office Highway Safety. And one thing about when we hand out the lights, we don't just hand it out, we actually install it right then and there, because we don't want somebody putting it in a backpack and get to it later. So we go ahead and just take care of that. And every police car, every bicycle patrol unit that we have, they all have their own kits in the vehicles to be able to, with them, to go ahead and install that easily, a front light and rear light combination. We also help out with the J1 student, as Anthony spoke about out earlier, usually on Wednesdays, 2 sessions, morning and afternoon. So we'll send one of our bicycle officers out there to help with education and all that. So that's been a success or whatever. Again, we can't thank Del Dot enough. What we're working together as far as student programs, our school resource officers doing a lot of bicycle safety seminars, especially before the summer season. Each year we have different contests, essays about safety. We have them, and then the first, second, and third place of each grade level in the elementary, we go ahead and purchase bicycles for them and helmets and all that as rewards for great essays and all that. So it's been a partnership too with Walmart. They've been able to help us out, like give helmets away and things like that. So we go out there, and actually the students pick their bicycles out because, again, we want to make sure it's size appropriate. Now, again, I won't bore you with all the stuff that we do with off-highway safety, our initiatives or whatever, but we're doing speed enforcement, DUI, crosswalks. That is something we actually get a lot of funding in Rehoboth Beach for crosswalks as far as safety. So we're out there almost every weekend on Rehoboth Avenue, but we can move all the different streets or whatever, and handing out pamphlets or whatever, and thanking the young ones and adults that are using the crosswalks properly. And if they're not, we're handing out literature for that. Sharrows was put in. We had a repaving project this past year, resurfacing on Rehoboth Avenue, and the Sharrows were put back. And some people didn't like it. I personally like the Sharrows or whatever, but prior to that, the Sharrows were just on one lane. I said there's 2 lanes on each east and west, and so that's actually been a help or whatever. I think it slowed traffic down on Rehoboth Avenue, and the bicyclists they'll go 2 or 3 wide. Now, some of the, like the Jolly Trolley and others might get upset about that, but that's actually what the Sharrows are for, is to have them wide out instead of single file. So again, that's helped. Sometimes individuals want to get upset and start passing on the right or left and go around them as quickly as possible. I think it was much needed in Rehoboth Beach, and it's actually, I want to sit there and say that's actually been very helpful to put them in both lanes. The challenges we have and this for 2026 we're focusing on is the e-bikes and scooters. Again, I think every town has that. We are actually seeing, I should have probably put this in Dave's slide or whatever, but we're seeing off-road vehicles, but electric bicycles. Probably can't really see that, but it looks like a motorcycle and we'll go 50 miles an hour. And these guys are parking in bike racks, and that's an issue, obviously, because it's taking up spaces. But the speed's incredible. And if you don't know about law enforcement issues we deal with, is that you say, well, why don't you pull them over? Well, first of all, a person on foot or bicycle officers aren't going to catch up to them. But as far as a road officer, they can get in and out and weave out of traffic, and we own them. We get in a pursuit, or don't call it a pursuit, whichever way you want to go, and try pulling them over, and they get scared, especially if it's a kid, because some of these people that are riding these are 11, 12. I don't know why the parents give them this equipment that will go 40, 50 miles an hour unsupervised and wearing no helmets and not even legal, and they get hit by another car while you're trying to stop them, then we own them. So we have to be careful on that. But that is a big, big issue for all the Delaware State Police, the beach towns. So again, Anthony, thank you for your team taking that about the bike trails and trying to get the classifications. I know our bike shops are working really hard on getting that information out, because we're constantly seeing those on our boardwalk too, flying way too fast. Again, and to be fair, when I'm up here, I don't want to sound negative to the bicycles or even the e-bicycles, even though e-bicycles shouldn't be engaged on the boardwalk. We have pedestrians and joggers in the morning running with headphones on and all that, and when they decide to make stage right, they just turn and don't always look behind them, and the bicyclists could be coming. So we're always balancing that act. I already spoke about the OHV vehicles, young kids with no helmets. One issue that we're trying to deal with, Dave hit on it, was bike racks placements. We have the old style bike racks. A lot of the new ones do not fit, bicycles do not fit into that, so we're looking at location and a different style of bike racks is what we would like to sit there and see. And back to pedestrian safety overall, a lot of towns are looking at this in beach communities is dark skies lighting and also directing lights downward or whatever. First I was like, how's this gonna work out? But quite honestly, they've got, if you go down to the Rehoboth Boardwalk on the south side, they've got 4 up already, putting some additional in. Right now they're just testing, see what type of filters they want. And it really has helped, and it's directed light downward, and it's actually gave more visibility and more safety to the ones walking on the streets. So they got that, and we're looking at that on Rehoboth Avenue too, as far as the boardwalk. And then, of course, as far as law enforcement, we're always our surveillance cameras and things. We're always upgrading those with the technology. So that comes controversy at times, but no, it's not the LPRs or anything. They're just regular cameras or whatever. We're just monitoring or whatever. We don't play them back or anything if there's an incident down there. So we're not looking to try and follow anyone around and doesn't have all the fancy capabilities as other cameras may have. So that is kind of what's going on in Rehoboth Beach. Does anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you, Dave. Next up is South Bethany.
Hi, I'm Bob Shields. I'm the chair of the Pedestrian Bicycle Safety Committee here in South Bethany. Pleased to have Edie Dondero, our mayor, and our chief, Jason Lovins, here with us. First want to thank Bethany Beach for organizing this thing. I think it's a great event to share information and learn what's going on in the community writ large. And one thing I've learned today is the silent policeman idea. I'm really intrigued to look into that. I'd never heard that before, so I'm wondering if we can use that in South Bethany. We all have unique features. The things in South Bethany are unique. You know, we occupy a mile of coastal highway. We're a residential community, got 1,400 units, hardly any businesses, just one small shopping mall. And so we have the 13 crosswalks. This is our major area of concern. We had one fatality back in 2019. Seems like every year we have at least a couple of incidents where people require transportation to hospital. So very concerned about that. That's our #1 focus. To counter that, we've got 3 brand new traffic lights installed down there with signals that can tell pedestrians when they can cross. That's probably our safest crosswalks in the whole town. 4 RRFBs. These are very nice, though they are a bit of an educational challenge. We have citizens come up to us and say they pressed a button and they stand there and they don't understand why the traffic doesn't stop. And we tell them it's a warning. You actually have to enter the crosswalk. But they are better than nothing at all, which is what we have at the other, I guess, 6 crosswalks in South Bethany. A lot of bicycle and pedestrian traffic, obviously, going up and down Route 1. Somebody else was talking, I think the Delta General was talking about sidewalks in Fenwick Island. We don't have any sidewalks. We got a very narrow streets. That causes challenges for us. And of course, then the rotating populations during the summer with the rentals. We all know these people come in, they're not focused on pedestrian and bicycle safety. They're just down here relaxing and have a good time, and they like to walk down in the middle of the street 5 or 6 abreast. So these are the challenges I'm sure we all deal with. So here's kind of the solutions we're working at. Continuing education through social media and newsletters. I'm sure we're all doing that. We're looking for more hints, more ideas on how to get the information out so that people, particularly these people that come in for a week or 2 at a time, understand what we're doing. Digital speed indicators, we've got a couple of those in town. I know that myself, when I see the digital speed, see when I'm going, I always look down and see how fast I'm going. So I think it is a useful device. We're trying to get a couple more of those. Speed monitoring, you know, we were looking at speed limits in town with the idea of maybe slowing down. And we realized all we had was anecdotal evidence. You know, people say, well, this guy blew by me and it was really dangerous, and we don't have any evidence. So we did get a couple of speed monitors. The chief's got them, and we're rotating them around town, and we're finding out some interesting things. One of our major areas of concern is, we call it Cat Hill. It's the pass-through between Kent Avenue and Route 1. That's probably one of our most dangerous areas in town as well. And it's caused by the fact that we have this tremendous amount of traffic going through there. Chief's telling me we just did a survey, and over 6 days, we had 3,600 vehicles going through there. So that's a lot, considering especially our narrow streets and no crosswalks. We also do an annual bike rodeo, and we really want to appreciate Del.Dot support. They give us great materials, helmets, backpacks. ABC, they're super. They're there to do some bike maintenance and minor repairs. So really thank them for that assist. And we get about 180, 200 people showing up, and everybody has a good time, and a lot of kids, so we enjoy it a lot. One area, just want to throw out an idea here. This is something we're playing with, or we want to get started this year to help us out on our crosswalks. This idea we actually got from Melbourne Beach, Florida. We had a committee member go down there and saw this in operation, said it's effective, it's easy, and probably best of all, it's cheap. It consists of putting a container of orange flags on either side of the crosswalk. The pedestrian comes up, takes the flag, waves it, waits till the traffic stops in both directions, then proceeds across and then drops off the flag on the other side in the container. We want to try that with a couple of our crosswalks, kind of as a pilot project, see how it goes. And we'll report back to people what the success rate is. The thing I like about it is, even at these ROFBs, you get the one car to stop, and I've seen this happen, I'm sure we all have. The other car comes along in the outer lane, and that's probably the most dangerous part of the whole crossing. And I think with this orange flag, it's going to be that much more visible. And it's particularly a problem when you get a big truck or a big vehicle is the one in the inner lane. So hopefully this will give more adequate visibility, and it'll make it clear that the pedestrian's about to start across the road. So we'll see how that goes. And I think that's it. Any questions? Thank you very much.
Last but not least, we have Bethany Beach, and we have Mark Cohen and Chief Foley. I'm not sure who's going first, but Chief Foley's going first.
Afternoon, everybody. I stand between you and lunch, so I'll be very quick. Where's Will? Down? There we go. All right, I also provided the blurriest picture on town records I could find for everybody's headache, so I apologize for that. We have a few infrastructure projects coming on. This is a Route 1 intersection as well. I'm going to teach everybody about what's happening on Route 26 here. This is just a general, very confusing overview of the 1 and 26 intersection. I believe next week we're going to start construction on the northern side of this intersection, leading from the northeast corner of Route 1 and 26 by the Christian Conference Center, crossing safely over to the town park, implementing a new median, center median, and turn lane median, as highlighted there. Town is going to install crosswalks. It begins March 30th. I believe it goes through May. Trying to get that done before Memorial Day weekend. Improvements will be made along the center median platform. It's going to look like an S-curve type pathway through there for pedestrians. That way pedestrians can safely travel along the north and southbound lanes carefully on each side of the intersection, not being forced to cross on the southern side as they have been. Crosswalks will be added along the turn lane coming off of Route 1, southbound lane of Coastal Highway, turning westbound onto Route 26. That sidewalk will coincide with the town park, and then it'll also coincide with a pre-existing sidewalk that will lead towards Kent Ave. This is a little bit clearer picture. All four median platforms will be enhanced. My art skills from my freshman year of college were applied there to add the red lines. That's going to look like the actual crosswalk It looks like it's kind of staggered, and it's going to have like an S curve through it in the center median between the North and South Coastal Highway. Next, this is an overview of Kent Ave and State Route 26. There's going to be improvements on 3 of the pre-existing crosswalks. There's going to be an implementation in the bottom right on Garfield Extended to provide further crosswalks, and a no outlet sign. A lot of people, we use the term, I'm sure it's frequent every time they leave their brains at the bridge. A lot of people see GPS, they're told to take a right. They usually take a right into a dead-end road, which we're going to put no outlet signs to clear up any confusion and prompt them back onto Route 26. This is a pretty neat one here. This is Bethany Diner on the left side of the screen, and the area of Wawa on Route 26. The red X's are current crosswalks that we have right now. One in front of DeFebo's leading to DeFebo's Market, and another one just east of Wawa on State Route 26. Those crosswalks are going to be removed. Again, my freshman year of college artwork in this picture. The 2 highlighted areas are going to have installed the RFFBs. We're going to have a refuge island, which is a pretty neat term. That way people don't have to dart across the east and westbound lane of traffic. They can access that refuge island, cross one lane of traffic, wait until it's safe to do so, hit another RFFB, and then cross the other lane of travel. Those are going to be installed right in front of Bethany Diner, and the other one is going to be Kokolo Sushi right in front of that. A lot of people access the laundromat at all hours, and then they run across the street to Wawa. It's going to be great for those folks. A lot of people park at Bethany Diner, Grottos for Bethany Diner, and walk across the street. It's going to be convenient for that. The specific location designation was used at these spots because we needed electric boxes on each side of the intersection. A lot of people didn't want to give up parking spaces to their businesses, rightfully so. Hence the location and planned approval for DelDOT to move forward. I believe that's going to happen at some point throughout this year too, soon. Some traffic safety initiatives on behalf of the Bethany Beach Police Department. We routinely do 2 bike checkpoints. I've been working with Anthony since I think 2008 doing these. Everybody expect us to be there at 8:01 on these given dates. We pick these dates based off A, traffic studies, and B, this is the busiest weekly rentals in the town of Bethany Beach. Every year, like clockwork, it's the second to last Thursday in July, as well as the first Thursday in August. Last year alone, just at these 2 events, the police department alone installed 300+ bike lights. We're also partnered with the Office of Highway Safety. They do bike inspection programs, give out maps, helmets, fix bikes. They also apply bicycle lights too. These numbers are just generated towards our bike safety checkpoints. This doesn't include the patrol officers. Like we come across a lot of foreign students that are traveling from their long day of work. We pull them over safely on the side. We don't want to embarrass them. Give them bike lights, correct their behavior. Our philosophy at Bethany Beach PD is education over enforcement. A 2-minute conversation goes further than a $98 ticket to especially a student or a tourist. So we try to live off that philosophy, and it works pretty well for us. This will be the 3rd year. We have our foreign student safety seminar. If you don't know, this area, I think the Chamber of Commerce hosts 600 just in the Bethany Fenwick Chamber of Commerce area. ABC Bike Group for Mariners Bethel, like they said, they give bikes to 300 people. We've partnered with them. They do their bike loan program at our site. This kind of bridges the gap and builds a little bit of trust for first responders and police officers. Again, a lot of countries that they come from, police are mistrusted. They're not trusted. They're considered corrupt in some countries. So we try to immediately have some interaction, positive interaction with them. Our officers play cornhole with them. We grill food. We buy pizza. We feed them. Between the food and the bike program from ABC Mariners Bethel, I think that's why they only come. Great experience we have with them. We also do the picnic later in the summer too. It just bridges that gap from law enforcement. In a matter of crisis, we are usually the first people that they deal with, so we don't want them to be timid or fearful of us, so we try to get ahead of that as soon as they can. We usually do this in June. This year, Pedestrian Bike Safety Committee, I can gladly report to you, we have a date and time for this now. It's going to be Tuesday, June 9th from 11 to 1. We're going to access the South Coastal Library. As of right now, that's the date we're going to move forward with. It's a meet and greet between the officers, fire, EMS, Sussex County paramedics, BB hospital staff, and also Bethany Beach lifeguards. In an event of an emergency, those are the people that they have interactions with, so we try to get ahead of that and calm that nervousness. The Office of Highway Safety provides most towns a lot of educational patrols for pedestrian safety. Bethany Beach Police Department is handsomely awarded. This is just strictly overtime patrols for our officers. This is beyond, we don't take officers off the road to do this. This is what they come in on their day off to do this and get paid overtime. So they're strictly dealing with pedestrian and bicycle safety education. That way we don't tie up the officers. They can stay focused on patrol. We have 24 4-hour patrols throughout the summer. That's just under 100 additional hours where we promote education. Again, our philosophy is education over enforcement towards pedestrian and roadway users. A lot of people come here from Baltimore, New Jersey, New York. They have different rules, so we try to have positive conversations with them where we can correct that behavior rather than leading to a fine. We try to break these up between 8 patrols in June. We conveniently start towards Senior Week, if you could tell why. We then do 8 patrols throughout July, focusing towards July 4th and the heavy weekends. And then again, 8 patrols in August, which usually are focused throughout the first 10 days of the month. That's it. Mark?
Thanks, Chief. Like you, I don't want to keep people from lunch, so I'll be quick. But I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the things our committee is doing in terms of engaging with the public. So we work very closely with the police department, and the chief is a member of the committee. We support a lot of the events, both the checkpoints and the J1 seminars, for example, working with both our police department, DelDOT, and the ABC Ministries. We also have tried to find ways to engage with, the town of Bethany Beach grows by about 20-fold during the season, from 1,000 to about 20,000 on the peak weeks. So one of the things we've done last year and plan to continue with this year is we've called it ride-alongs on our trolley. A lot of people who are here for the summer ride the trolley, and it's an opportunity to talk to people about bicycle and pedestrian safety. And we've tried to come up with some simple messages. You saw the very unflattering picture of me at the safety point there with this hat, which has our WAVE message on it. It's for pedestrians in particular. Wait and watch, assess the traffic patterns, verify it's safe to cross, and then engage and enter the crosswalk, so WAVE. And the other message that we try and promote is if you're walking, face the oncoming traffic. If you're riding on your bike, ride with traffic. So we try and promote that on the trolley and at some of our events like the Poseidon Festival in May and the 4th of July parade and other opportunities to talk with members of the public. We also have the Bethany Life app, which is a social media platform, internet platform where we have these same messages. We also, my other prop besides the hat is the shirt, the Ocean to Bay. So there we have experienced bicycle riders. They know about safety. They wear helmets. But what we try and do there is talk about some of the specifics of Delaware law. You know, when you're operating a bicycle in Delaware, you're considered, I learned this from the chief, you're operating a vehicle. You're not a pedestrian, so you don't go in the crosswalk. If you're walking your bike, you're a pedestrian. You can go in the crosswalk. But if you're riding the bike, you are a vehicle. You don't go into the crosswalk. So a few things that we talk even to the experienced cyclists about. And the other thing we do kind of at the end of the season, the end of the big part of the year, every year we have a idea sharing workshop in October, and we invite people to share their thoughts. And a lot of the ideas takes a while, but they get turned into like ideas like, shouldn't we have a crosswalk on both sides going across Route 1? I mean, it took a while, but we're finally going to have it. So I'll stop there. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for everything that's been said this morning. I think this has been a very, very successful program. And again, just very quickly, I'd like to again thank Dewey Beach, Lewis, Mariners Bethel ABC, Millville, North Bethany Coalition, Ocean View, Rehoboth Beach, South Bethany, and Bethany Beach for being here and for presenting all this wonderful information. People are up to a lot of very good things, and we're very grateful for people taking the time and effort to be here. So with that being said, again, I want to be quick and move us on to lunch. Again, I'm Art Diver. I'd be happy to talk with anybody here after the meeting about anything that Bethany Beach is working on. And I'd just like to, as we mentioned in the beginning, since Jacqueline Holohan is here, and is Jonah still here? Okay, Jonah had to leave, but again, Jacqueline Holohan is here from Lieutenant Governor Gay's office. And we just ask a few thoughts. I know we threw out a lot of information today, but if you could perhaps just share a few things that you might be able to take back to the Lieutenant Governor's office, we'd appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I will be very brief. Lieutenant Governor Gay is going to be very happy to hear that she gets to call her great friend, Secretary Hastings, to tell her that DelDOT is a shining star in the work that you all do. But all seriousness, please stay connected with our office. We would love to uplift the work that you're doing. We would love to show up to some of these community events, whether it's myself, Lieutenant Governor Gay, or a different member from our staff. I can stay for a few minutes to chat and to exchange business cards so we can get on each other's schedule. Thank you.
Okay, I am the last person to speak. I just really want to thank all of you for taking time out of your day to join us and share all of the things that you've learned. It's very energizing for us to see that we are working together as an area, and it's exciting to hear the different strategies towns are using to improve the safety of our residents and visitors. I also want to take a minute to thank our town staff. They're really the ones who put this together. So I'd like to thank Raylene and Julie and Chief Foley and Brian and Emily and our friends from, I believe it's Mid-South Audio, who've put all this together for us today. And I think our takeaway is Delaware has a lot of resources for the small towns, and we all need to take advantage of them. So please take time to connect with the other towns and our partners from DelDOT. And that's it. I think we've learned enough today, so please enjoy, please eat. Thank you, everyone.